Right. All right. Very good. Well, it looks like we are live on Facebook and we are so excited about today's episode. OMG. My name is April Joy, the host of the Liberation Lounge, and I am so incredibly excited for the conversation we get to have today because here at the Liberation Lounge, we have real talk with real women. And so we love to kind of pull back the layers and uncover some of the things that I think all of us think about, but we're not saying out loud. And that's what this show is really all about. So this show is extra special because me and this young lady go way back, way back. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio now, but at least at the taping of this episode, I don't know where I will be in the coming months, but that's where I am right now. But this young lady and I, we go way back. I was living in the city of Chicago, our paths crossed, and we just connected instantly. And I think there was a deep spiritual connection that I don't even know if we even thoroughly understood that in the moment, but we knew that there was something there. And to see the impact and the work that she is now doing and the evolution that she has gone through is so indicative of the conversation that we are going to have today here on the Liberation Lounge. So, ladies and our allied gentlemen that are joining us live, or if you're watching us on replay, please help me welcome to the virtual stage none other than my dear friend, Yana German. Yana, how are you today?
Oh my gosh. Oh, my heart, April. It's such a beautiful and warm welcome. I feel the God bumps, the goosebumps.
Yes, the God bumps.
They're amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm absolutely I have this honor and just the joy to see you through your own emergence and their own involvement and honoring this. And I just cannot see what entitles for us, what actually is emerging through both of us connecting and the synergy
Yes.
we're bringing. So thank you so, so much.
It is my pleasure, and I'm just excited for us to be able to really pour into the people
Absolutely.
that are watching and for us to pour into each other because that's what the Liberation Lounge is all about. And so for those that may not know you, right? You have such an amazing background. Again, I remember you kind of in your early
Yeah.
stages of your work and your
Yeah.
business and the evolution that you've gone through. But for those who aren't familiar with your background and kind of what brought you to where you are today, maybe we can just start there.
Sure. I think I've been a seeker all my life. I will start with that. And I definitely felt that there's something else for me, right? So it does
Mhm.
not matter what areas of the life that I actually put myself in job or careers or passion. There was always just a step in the stool just for me to really become aware. Who am I? Why am I? And so on. So I really want to just make sure that's kind of clear.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of hats. I wear a lot of masks. And now I understand those hats that I wore, that was part of my identity. It's part of my way to understand what I love, what I don't like, what the contrast is, what's good for me, what's bad for me. And so
Mhm.
we met and I was a fashion designer and before
Yep.
that I did ballroom dancing and I had a modeling school. And I
Nice.
look at it and I look at it as, wow, it got me exactly where I needed to be now. So
Yes.
as we look at our life, we're like, I've done this and I've done this, and sometimes they don't intersect, they don't necessarily even connect, but it
Hmm.
all brought me to be where I am. And so now, let's say the title, I don't even connect to the title, but as a title, I'm the architect of alignment and awareness. What is it really? I
Hmm.
am helping people to bring them to the truth of their own identity, which is such a big, broad spectrum of it, but really to reactivate and realign what they already know but forgot. That truly is the mission.
Yes. Yes. And I love the way you said that. It's what they already know, but they had
Absolutely.
forgotten.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the big things that people need to understand about a lot of the spiritual work that, many of us are doing. It's stuff that's already in us,
Exactly.
right? It's not necessarily new. It's
No.
been there the whole time. but it's just a matter of how we really are remembering it and
Absolutely.
reawakening to it, right? So that we can live more fulfilled ultimately.
And that is exactly because as a seeker, right? As a fellow seeker, you can understand
Yes.
that there's so much out there in this world. It's so
Yeah.
much things available to us, both physically and non-physically. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a moment in your life where you start understanding, okay, how do I believe about myself? What are my core values? How do I
Mm-hmm.
see in the world? And what I realized through my own weaknesses or my own struggle, let's call them struggle or trauma, let's be more clear, through
Yep.
trauma, I had to learn with face on, right? You're faced on with the trauma.
Yep.
It's not like with a little, it doesn't come to you from the side. It comes at you right here and it
Yep.
smacks you. Sometimes it just smacks you bluntly on. And
Yep.
as a sensitive soul or an empath, I would pick and feel everything around me. And I would
Mm-hmm.
have a really hard time understanding what's mine and what's not.
Mm.
And that was opening a whole bag of worms that I didn't even knew exist.
Yes, yes. And definitely for those of you that are watching that know that you are empaths, you're very empathic, like it's like you feel everything. That is so key, is understanding what you're meant to take on and what you're not. And that can be people, that can be projects,
Absolutely.
that can be jobs, that can be a lot of different things, right?
Or
So I'm
even
so glad.
noise, even someone says something, a word or a
Yes.
phrase.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's that filter,
Yeah.
right? That we have to really learn how to monitor, right? As empaths. So good. Such a good way to get us started. So I know that in your work, you teach people how to really get in alignment with their bodies, their mind, their spirit, like really to get grounded in that, in their truth. So in your definition, what does it really mean to be in alignment? And why do you think it's essential for us?
I love this question. I believe that without alignment, without awareness, does not exist.
Mm,
So the first thing, we must become aware of everything, of our
mhm,
bodies, of our breath, of a contrast that
mhm.
we have polarity. We have light and we have dark. We have
Yeah,
sun and
yeah,
we have the moon. It's just the way that life is.
yeah.
And we as humans, we have so much desire to be right or to be
Hmm.
in our head and to
Hmm.
analyze how did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? Why am I doing it? So we stop living and we just exist.
Mm,
And so truly become aware, you become very clear on your boundaries.
yes.
Become very clear on discernment. What is my truth? And
Yeah,
my truth may not sound and feel like your truth. And that's okay because
yeah,
it's mine and it belongs to me. So
yeah.
activating that power of I am this, I am that. That is so, so sacred in everyone's healing journey to
Mhm.
reconnect.
So good, so good. And this is interesting that we're even talking about this and what bubbled up to the surface for me when you use the word boundaries,
Yeah.
right? I was around a group of women last night, a friend of mine who I actually hadn't run into in quite a while. She's writing a book on kind of the career journey that women are going through, like back in her generation, because she's like 65, so she's like boomer. And then she had Gen X's
Yeah.
there, and then she had millennials there. So it was
Yeah.
really interesting to see how we all viewed our career paths, what we defined as joy or happiness
Yeah.
within our career paths. And it was so interesting. She broke us down into small groups. And one of the women who was older than me, I'm 46, she was probably, I don't know, 55. And she said, I did not learn boundaries until 2 years ago.
Oh, well,
And I said, that is so interesting because I didn't learn boundaries until 2 years ago. We're talking about women in their 40s and
Yes.
50s.
Yeah.
Some not until and they were in their
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah.
So that just underscores
Mhm.
the importance of an alignment,
Absolutely.
right? Because
100%.
once you finally get to that place,
You own
oh,
it. That's
yes,
it. You own it.
yes,
And
you
it
own it.
becomes your core belief.
Yes,
Becomes that inner strength. So a lot
yes.
of people talk about confidence.
Mm-hmm,
Confidence, it's just a word, but the
mm-hmm,
energy of the meaning, it's the inner truth. Truly,
yes.
that's what it is. So
Mm-hmm,
when you understand your worthiness and what
mm-hmm,
has taken me years to understand through my own practice, through my own
mm-hmm,
life, through working with other people, and like I said, especially my own experience, the
mm-hmm.
concept or the core belief I am worthy was never solidified in my subconscious belief. Like I didn't have that belief. I thought I did. I
Yeah,
felt I did. But once
yeah,
it came into my every single life pattern, situation repeated itself. And I had to learn the hard way or the painful
yeah,
way until I no longer could ignore, right? And we
yep,
have either the physical pain, either emotional pain, either
yep,
financial, whatever we go through, right? There's a moment in all of our life, no exception, as a breaking moment when you stop and you have to say, why is this happening to me? And now what's the message?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
underneath it all, it always comes to your awareness.
Yes.
Yes.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh. And I think that process that we go through, especially as women,
Yeah.
that's why these conversations, this is why this podcast even exists, is because these are the conversations that I really do wish someone was having with me when I was like 16,
I
right?
I wish that this is exactly what I would always say. Nobody had this. Nobody
No,
spoke about this. This is
they
was
didn't.
very, very put aside. You don't express how you feel. You
Yep.
don't express how you feel.
Yeah. And but I will say though, Yana, being around some of the younger women, the millennials that were in this event last night at my friend's house, they they are kind of owning
Hmm.
their truth
Good for them.
earlier than I think
Than
even we did.
us. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is hope, right?
Yeah, and this is the generation. So when I work with clients, student, or myself, and I
Yeah.
work in their subconscious, and I see the pattern, the programming that
Yes.
happened from their great great grandmother who said
Yes.
this is the belief. And
Yeah.
you see this, and like you say, in women, and especially it's very interesting. I notice working with women who I would say 35 and up,
Yeah.
notice how everybody always think, especially the sensitive soul, they would think about others before themselves, and
Yes.
whatever they did just to avoid and ignore whatever they felt until they could not. And there's a moment, energetically, physically, even we're
Hmm.
talking about perimenopause and the menopause, and I do want
Hmm.
to kind of tap a little bit in this
Yeah.
conversation.
Sure.
There's so much energy shifts, not just on the body or the organs and the endocrine system,
Yeah.
but what's happening in the brain, how your brain
Yes.
adopts information and perception. And
Yeah.
so much of it being kind of like a program. Women in menopause are like this. Women
Yeah.
that so that we are in a society that programs us before
Hmm.
we can even speak.
Yes.
And that's really what I've been seeing, studying, experimenting with myself, and just seeing in life how
Yeah.
much of we are just marionettes by someone else.
Yeah. Yep. It's so true. It's so good. Oh my gosh. I know we could go down like
Yeah, we could.
so many different tunnels on that, but okay, so let's keep it moving here. So I want you to get into a little bit about the specifics of the modalities that you work with, right? So what kind of led you to explore some of these other healing modalities like the body code, the emotion code, the Psych-K? And the second part of that question is, was there, any like personal turning point
Yeah.
for you that kind of led you down this path, or or did it all just kind of like naturally come together?
Yeah, I wish it was naturally. No, it never is. For me, I
Right.
can only speak about myself. I've had various emotional issues that I would have. I was very sensitive. I had anxiety, right? We
Yeah.
would call it overwhelmed, and then it
Yeah.
started manifesting in the physical. There's some autoimmunity. There would be, I
Yeah.
would always get sick or my this or digest, right? There's always something that
Yeah.
I felt that I was not well physically. I wasn't strong. And as I would be going through various doctors and I was be getting this vitamin, this medication, I realized that the more I was getting help, I was dismissing really the core issue or the root.
Yeah.
And so I was covering that very well until it no longer was able to be covered. And then through various, there's no coincidence in life, right? There's never
Hmm.
coincidence. Through various contact, I met someone who just completely changed my life. And it came down to being honest with how I feel, what's really happening in my life, and understanding what does it mean to be grounded. I
Yeah.
had no, I use the word, you hear the word, but
Yeah.
what does it actually means to embody the grounding? How does it feel? How does it register in the brain? How does it feel in the cells? Is there any reactivation, activation? That's
Yeah.
really taking me into understanding there has to be more. And I do believe the body speaks to us. The body knows how to communicate, but we, with our ego and our noise, we do not know how to pay attention or listen. So we ignore and we put it aside. And
Yeah.
that led me to start understanding what is else out there that I can learn. I've already had a lot of dabbled in this and this and that.
Hmm.
And the more I learned, April, what I realized that there's not even one modality that can fix it all. Because I
Hmm.
was always looking at, oh, I'm going to learn this and it will
Yeah.
fix. And then once I learn it and I start doing it, I realize, yes, it fixes maybe 20%, but what about the other part? So I said, oh, let me find another, and so on. And so
Hmm.
here I have maybe 6, 7 different modalities under the
Hmm.
belt. I just say it's a toolbox,
Yes.
literally the toolbox. So I
Hmm.
still look at each person as they are, no projection, exactly as they are, just so I can figure out what do they need. And sometimes I let their subconscious guide me, not myself.
Yeah.
Because the subconscious knows exactly, it's a memory box. It knows exactly where you need because it wants you to be well and survive. And it has the storage, it's a computer box. So why don't we use it? So it taking me to various aspects, one after another, because I was still asking the question, is this it? Is there
Yeah.
something else? And we are humans, I think we have this notion that once we learn, we obtain something. We're wondering, is this it? Or can I have
Yeah.
something else? So there
Yeah.
was always this. So I'm a student in life. Will I ever stop learning? No. But for now, this is what I have in my toolbox.
I love it. I love it. And I'm sure you're familiar with the work in the groundbreaking book, The Body Keeps the Score, right?
Yeah.
And I was referred to that book through a therapist
Hmm.
back coming out of the pandemic. So it was probably around 2021. And I read it, I got it intellectually.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to understand something intellectually, it's another thing to actually start to experience it
Absolutely.
viscerally.
Absolutely.
And I've spoken about this a couple of times, both publicly and on this podcast, that after my divorce, it was the very first time that I felt like I was in my body.
Mhm.
It was always like my body was here and my mind and consciousness was over here, but nothing had ever really locked in together. And that's a tough way to live because
Absolutely.
you're honestly operating very much on autopilot
Mhm.
like that. And you're so disconnected
Mhm.
from your body. And I'm gonna go down a quick rabbit hole on this, and I'm gonna talk about intimacy because I'd be very
Oh,
interested to hear your perspective on this.
yeah, sure.
That when it comes to intimacy, and I'm talking about in this example, just in
Yeah.
this example, I'm gonna talk about heterosexual intimacy. It may be similar for same sex, I'm not sure. But in heterosexual intimacy, I've read an amazing book called Come As You Are, and
Mm,
it's by Emily Nagoski,
mm.
who is a essentially a sex educator,
Okay.
sex therapist, and she specifically begins to talk about how when women are raped, okay, they often are mentally disconnecting from their body so that they don't have to quote unquote experience as much trauma. Now, this could happen when someone's raped, when they've gone through, any type of sexual trauma, or maybe they were just in an experience that just wasn't really favorable to them. It may not even necessarily been unconsensual, but it just wasn't pleasant for whatever reason, right? And so what Emily does is she's often called into
Mm,
cases in the courtroom where a man will say, well, she was wet. So of course
mhm,
it was consensual.
mhm,
And Emily would say, that's biological. That's going to happen regardless, just because of stimulation.
mhm,
That doesn't mean that she actually was enjoying it.
mhm.
So she would often have to be the medical professional in the courtroom
Oh,
to help validate the person who had experienced the trauma, to help the judge and the jury understand that there was this disconnection that was happening.
mm,
And we cannot equate physical lubrication to psychological fulfillment. These are two very different things. And I remember having a conversation, Yana, with a girlfriend of mine about this.
mm,
And she started crying
mm.
because she said, this is the first time I have ever heard anybody explain what happened when I was with my ex-boyfriend.
Well, and this is powerful. So I can actually relate to this conversation more than you. I don't think I've ever talked about it. So when I was 17 years old, I had somewhat of experience with an authority,
Mm-hmm.
and something happened. And I remember that at that time, again, the belief of my family at that moment, they were so scared that it's going to be public and it's going to take a case, that they dismissed the sacredness
Yes.
and the power of what it actually happens for the person who's going through. It doesn't matter, female, male, right?
Yep.
Because it can be
Yep.
both, right?
Absolutely.
For me, it has taken me years. And what I did, I suppressed that,
Yep.
because down in my head, I start thinking, oh, I'm dirty. I'm not, I
Yep.
deserve that. So you start having all kinds of self abusive talk, because, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm a people pleaser, why did it happen to me? And if you have no really support at that moment to understand that what happened to you, it was invasion of your space that no
Yes.
one ever has the right to take on, ever, because you have a power to say yes, and you have power to say no, because that's the power of free will that we as human have. And
Yep.
as years went by, that got suppressed into stagnation, into various areas of my body. And then I started having issues with my even hormonal imbalances. And
Mm-hmm.
people like, surprise, why is it happening? Well, guess what? I didn't understand at that moment, because you experience it's called physical emotional shock. And
Yep.
it's actually a ball of energy that can get stagnant at any part of your body or organ or cells. And
Mm-hmm.
until you get clean and understand that this what happened, and you bring it into the attention, it will not dissipate.
Yep.
So things cannot, a lot of times, I don't know about you, but my upbringing was
Mm-hmm.
just think about something positive, just move
Yep.
on. And right, it does
Yep.
not work, people. And
It
this
doesn't.
is what I learned. Trauma is trauma. It doesn't, yes, can we say a small trauma? It doesn't really matter. In all the modalities and all the experience I've done, I've realized that it doesn't matter how heavy the trauma. Trauma is a trauma. Whether
Yep.
it's, it's lack of, you separated, divorce, death,
Mhm.
car accident, somebody sexually, or a job loss, it does
Mhm.
not matter because it gets stored instantly in a second in the physical body, and it stays there. And it, believe it or not, it actually has ability to amplify and move around. And that's why you see a lot of people getting very ill, or we call depressed or clinically depressed, and they don't know what's going on because
Yep.
there's this belief that I am not worthy, I am not good, whatever it follows as this attack we call energy attack, physical attack happened, whatever we define it, it happened. It's stored. Now the question is, what do we do about
Yep.
it? So I love
And
that.
that's
I love that you're talking of. This is actually my first time that I've never talked about it. My own
well,
experience.
that is it's
Love it.
so interesting, and I'm so grateful for this conversation. Again, I like to talk about things on this show
Love
that
it.
I think people are thinking, but they're not saying, right? And so
Love
I
it.
was very open on my fibroid journey that I
Mm.
went through, right? My endocrine system was all jacked up. And so the doctors were looking at it from a physical standpoint, but because I have an understanding of what can happen on an energetic level, as I started doing my own research, I began to realize that so much of that, I believe, was a result of physical trauma that I had subjected myself to, maybe not just even me, but maybe even a couple generations back
Or more.
or more,
Really,
right?
sometimes I would say the most time that I've experienced, one time someone had 80 generate. I mean, at that moment, I was just curious. I was just
Yeah,
more curiosity. But you can imagine how it's being passed on
yeah,
through a word, through a
yes,
feeling, and especially, believe it or not, through a mother womb.
yeah. Hmm.
And that's why the maternal energy, it is so sacred
Yeah.
because it carries information not only for the fetus, but whatever the mom at that moment, which I had to learn the hard way, was
Hmm.
going through. So my mom and my dad was separating before I was born.
Hmm.
And okay, a lot of people separate, no biggie. But what was biggie, the fact that all the anger and pain
Hmm.
was captured in her body, which was passed on to me. So
Yep.
sometimes we look at people and they just have a hard life and they're
Yeah.
constantly sick and they're thinking, what's wrong with me? Why I can't have a break, right? I'm sorry.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people like this.
Yes.
That was me. And
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that there was already a program that life is hard because when I
Hmm.
was started working and moving and transmuting the energy, this is what was coming up. And I asked my mom, was it true? She's like, absolutely.
Mm.
So the body stores information, it stores
Yes.
data, it
Yeah,
stores sound. Cells are alive. And
they
this
are.
part of the work that I love that I say it, it's more like energy medicine because
Yeah.
it can actually restore, recalibrate your whole system into a state of wellness on
Hmm.
all areas of your life.
Yes, yes. And that's the reason why I think it's just so important that, we all we say things that have become like colloquialisms, but
Yeah,
I don't think we really understand what they mean. Like when we say, oh yeah, every human, it's like mind, body, spirit, but then we just go the physical route and we try
exactly.
and resolve, and then we ignore the emotional part, we ignore these other parts of ourselves, and then we wonder why, okay, you took that pill or you did that treatment and it worked for a second,
Exactly.
right? And then it came back. And it's like, well, maybe there's something underlying there that never got dealt with. And that's why I
There
think,
was never there was never help. There was never
yes,
faced. That was
yes,
just put aside
yes,
as a
exactly.
band-aid.
Exactly. So I just want to encourage all of our listeners, like regardless of where you are in your life, and everything in your life right now might be fine. And if it is, that's fantastic. But we all have stuff,
Absolutely.
whether we realize it or not, right? But even if you are working through some physical challenge or maybe an emotional challenge, or maybe you're just like wondering why you always feel stuck or
Exactly.
why things aren't like working out.
Exactly.
Whatever that is, that should be the trigger to say, you know what? Maybe there's something else going on here that I haven't been able to put my finger on. That's when it's time
And
to reach
April,
out to
I
someone.
just want to say also as an advice, I very seldomly offer advice, but I believe I wish somebody told me, don't ignore the symptoms.
Yes.
Symptoms is the way that the body
Yeah.
actually and organs are talking to you. And I see so many people walking say, I have asthma, I have migraines.
Yep.
No, you are not defined by migraines. You're not defined by asthma. What is the root system underneath it all? Where is the belief? Why do you have believe you have to have? Is it your immune system? But why is even your immune system weak? And so when we understand that we as a being, we are actually born whole. We're
Whole.
born complete. We're
Hmm.
born healthy, and we're born in peace, not in
Hmm.
happy, in peace or with
Hmm.
peace. And then when we start doing the life as beings, as
Hmm.
humans with ego and the brain and logical, that's what gets in the way. So when
Yep.
we let the brain rest and we talk to the subconscious, the body then starts feeling restored. And I cannot tell you, in front of me, my own health condition, that things that disappeared, I would say in 1 or 2 sessions for myself. And when I start seeing that, I was a believer.
Yep.
I could not ignore this anymore.
Absolutely. 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 So, can you really just, as we kind of dig into this a little bit, can you walk, like I'm familiar with these
Yep,
modalities because I've been I think my mom started studying some of this like when
absolutely.
I was in my 20s or 30s, so I'm a little familiar with it, but can you kind of walk us through how the body code, emotion code, Psych-K, like what could someone potentially expect,
Yeah.
right? If they were to do these types of sessions with you.
So for me, obviously, it's very important to even understand what does the person have, because sometimes
Hmm.
it could only be just related to physical, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's through deeper layering. It's through their
Yeah.
conscious awareness, right? So I realized that's why I realized that one tool cannot fix, and so
Yeah.
for me, it was very important to identify. So I love the body code, the emotion code, the belief code, but yet I also felt it was limited because when we change the vibration or the stagnation or help the misalignment or we decode something, then we need to reprogram it. And that's what I love the Psych-K, because
Got
once
it.
I got able to move the energy, right, then I needed to understand how do I reprogram. But there's other modalities that I'm very familiar with and I practice it, trauma. And a trauma
Hmm.
code, I never imagined that the people who experience any kind of pain, how much trauma they're stored. And there's actually not just negative emotion, they're trauma emotion that have a different frequency. They're stored more, they're more potent, they're more
Mm.
impactful. And so once we identify clearly which ones, and I will say, April, a lot of times it's either observed from someone else or generational or inherited. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of, so if someone had a traumatic or been abused, they're going to go right into the trauma because I want to understand what is the pattern in their belief that they feel about themselves and how
Hmm.
deep it is. And again, it guides the subconscious guides us to a degree that it feels comfortable. And sometimes it's stages. But I will say that based on my experience, you always feel a shift at the end of the session.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty because we also hold a container, right? It's where you clearly command you want this process to go with ease and grace
Yeah.
and peace. So, and I love that the our body's so smart. It has innate intelligence. It
Hmm.
knows how to heal us. When you go to sleep, you don't have to say, hey, heart, are you there? I hope you're going to meet me tomorrow. It knows what to do. It knows how to pump the blood. So why do we interfere?
Yeah.
Just sit back and let the body naturally heal. And that's what we call process of integration, or the
Mhm.
processing time. It's like your naturally body adjusting and vibing to the new energy that is no longer stagnant, because no illnesses is defined by illnesses, is defined by stagnation. Really is. How
Yeah.
much stagnation there is.
And people don't even really, I think, thoroughly understand how important like breath work is. I think we just take our breath just
For granted.
we really do. We take our breath for granted, and it's like something I started doing, I would say probably about 9 months ago, is as soon as I wake up in the morning and I swing after I, express gratitude, right? I swing my feet over to the side of the bed and, because most of us kind of sleep like,
Mhm.
like this or whatever, I kind of like bring my shoulders
Mhm.
back intentionally,
Mhm.
right? Just to get good posture. And I take 15
Mm.
really deep
Conscious
breaths,
breath, conscious
conscious
breath. That's the
breaths,
key. Yeah.
15 conscious
Mm.
breaths.
Love it.
And that does so much for my mind, my
And it
body.
grounds you.
It really does.
Yep.
Like first thing,
Beautiful.
not checking the phone,
Nope.
no email, no text,
Nope.
no
No.
social
No.
media. Take those
Absolutely. Because the breath, and this is beautiful, is the breath is what defines you. The breath
hmm
is with you. It's your guiding light. It's your anchor. And we underestimate, because we hold the breath, we underestimate the power of breath until our last day. And I've had a lot of people right now. I have someone who's on they're dying. And so to me, even more conscious aware, what separates is the breath. We
Yeah,
must become conscious of the gratitude that we can breathe, we can see, we can stand, and gratitude to us regardless where we are. And that was the biggest thing that I had to learn. No matter how many modality, I'm not defined by modality. I am
yeah,
defined by my own truth. And our truth is louder than any tools out there.
true. Yes, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit as we wrap up here is um we have so much subconscious
Yes.
programming,
Yeah.
right? That really begins to shape our reality.
Yep.
I just heard someone say recently, they were like, it just always seems like when I get money, it's just like gone. Like I get
That's a
it
belief.
and then it's gone, you know? And I'm like, that's a belief
That's a
system.
belief. That's a belief. That's a negative belief. Absolutely.
That is a belief system. And that just
And it will
keeps
happen.
it's on autopilot
Yeah.
in her life, and so clearly there's something subconscious going on there,
100%.
right? Right.
100%.
And so how have you seen in your life or in the lives of the people that you work with, how that subconscious programming really begins to shape our reality, and how do some of the things that you do help people kind of rewire that?
Yeah. I've never, going back to the boundaries, as we said, I had a hard time with boundaries, and I had a hard time of saying no. And I would
Mm,
be always the one that's running and saving others before myself.
yep.
And that was a program that came from my generation, or from dad,
hmm
mom. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But it was not mine at the first place. But I
hmm
started embodying it. And the program starts, fully develops by the time we're 5 years old. So by the
mm,
time we're 5 years old, from everything that you look, if you just stand back and look at your life as a movie, your whole life is run by a set of programs.
hmm
Everything and every, from relationship to the body to health to opportunity to money, everything. So that's when I started realizing, what is my core belief? And my core belief, I am unworthy. Even though I consciously said I am worthy, I love
hmm
myself. But my belief that was programmed, I do not love myself. And
mm,
so even though logically didn't make sense, But subconsciously, that's what the program was overpowering me. So
Yep.
until I was able, or until I shifted that program into, I accept myself as I am strong and healthy in my boundaries, I was meeting the same exact experiences with different situations, but it was exactly the same thing. And I just felt stuck. I felt no matter what I do, no matter how many times I pray, no matter how many times the mantras do not work. Positive affirmation, they do not work.
They
They
don't.
do not work because it just doesn't work. We're in the law of resonance. So
Yep.
if you have doubt in you, you're going to
Yep.
have doubt in you. It's a law, it's attract exactly what we already have.
Yep.
So people, don't waste time just saying positive affirmation, only unless you change the program and you're in the positive belief, then you can, because that's going to be actually your truth. But just
Yep.
positive affirmation, they just go in one ear and come out the other. And that's already been proven scientifically too.
And that is, I'm so glad that you said
Yeah.
that because so many of us are taught about, the power of affirmations and things of that sort. But that word you use, and I use that word with my brother Kurt all the time, is resonance.
Yep.
That is what is
Absolutely.
how it all works. It's
Yes.
based upon the law of resonance. And so
Absolutely.
if you're saying something that is really not resonant with how you
Mhm.
actually feel,
Mhm.
right, inside of your
Mhm.
beingness, then there is going to be a disconnect there. There's a
Absolutely.
gap. And I think people get frustrated over time because they're like, wait a minute, but I'm
I'm
doing
being
my
positive.
I'm being positive. I'm doing, I mean, and I've been there. Like I've been there and I'm like, oh my gosh, why are things like not shifting? Or
Yeah.
maybe they'll shift for a second, right? But sometimes that's just
They're not
circumstances.
habitual. They're not
Yes, but not
habitually
habitual.
exactly
Yeah, it's not
engraved in the body, the system operating on its own.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And then what ends up happening, and man, I was stuck in this track for a long time,
Mm.
is you start efforting,
Oh yeah.
right? And you effort and you're like and it's just it is maddening to
Mhm.
live like that because for one there's only 24 hours in a day, but when you start to understand the law of resonance,
Mhm.
it's like you will get things done more efficiently, more effectively, because there are chess pieces that are moving on your behalf that you're not having to effort
Yeah,
into, right?
absolutely. And there's a cellular memory. There's
Yeah.
a body memory. So if you are saying, you could say until you're blue in the face that I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, there's going to be no changes if deep down in the subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
I hate myself, I'm unworthy. It will, because you are simply not going to even attract that vibration.
Right.
Whatever you say, it doesn't matter. And people are like, but hold on a sec, I'm being positive. No, you're just stating, you're consistently repeating what you think you are, but what is
Mm-hmm.
underneath? So that's where the awareness, again, must be honest. You must be honest and in discernment with yourself to know, okay, so this is where I'm at, and this is what I want, but I'm not getting. That's the first step to healing. You must
Yes.
actually clearly seeing that there is a contrast between what you have and what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll just say very fast that,
Yeah.
a lot of women, they go through body changes and hormones
Yes.
and weight gain. So I personally had this experience, and this experience happened to me after COVID, where I started gaining a lot of weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Different things, the hormones, you go by the clinical medical
Mm-hmm.
acknowledgement. And I've gone through functional doctors. I've gone through all type of doctors. I've changed my diet. I've done the, allergy test. You name it, I've done it. I've done hypnotherapy. I've done it all. I've done yoga. Nothing worked.
Yeah.
And so when I faced and asked myself, what is my belief to the cell optimization?
Mm-hmm.
I was aligned 0 out of 100. So
Mm-hmm.
if my metabolism in my subconscious is working 0 out of 100, Does not matter what I do. I'm
Mm,
running in circles. It doesn't matter. Only when I start decoding and releasing and moving things that, and guess what? It always comes down to negative emotion. Always comes down to trauma. It always comes down to beliefs. Once it started moving, the weight went off itself
isn't
without
that amazing?
anything, as well as my blood work started changing on its
Hmm.
own. Because what I did, I gave myself a space to heal, and then innately body does what a body needs to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because then it's
So
getting into the
powerful.
whole brain state.
Yes. Yes. So powerful. And so many
Yes,
women find themselves in that place,
that's what I
right?
had to say. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. It's like, why? Like,
The roller coaster.
I'm eating right and I'm going to the gym. And
No,
it's like, why is the scale not moving? Why are my jeans getting tighter
yeah,
and not, not looser?
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
that's so key, ladies, most certainly. I'm sure men go through this to
Yeah,
some degree as well.
absolutely.
They've been talking about a lot about male menopause. And so I know that the men have their issues as well, but certainly from our
Yeah,
standpoint, that is very common as women start to get into that perimenopause
absolutely.
and menopause. And just do not forget that there could be something deeper going on there if
It
you feel like you're
always
doing
is.
something right, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Love
that's just another reason to reach out. So um so let's kind of end with this. If you could offer one like emotional detox ritual, like just something simple that every woman could do. Like I shared mine, right? My 15 breaths. That's just something
it.
that I do that I heard a sleep doctor talk about, and I've been doing it like ever since. But what would be that thing that you would say, you know what? I think every woman just needs to get into a practice of doing
Yeah.
what?
I feel if there's one thing, I would call it, it's called night pages.
Hmm.
And before I go to bed, phone is away, I write everything that I have. And whatever for that day, whether it's physical, mental, energetic, I just write it all down. Until I'm done, then I say, I am grateful. And right away, I create that list, what I'm grateful for. I don't continue, just say, I am grateful for food, for water, for this. And then
Hmm.
success, 5 things for today that was win for me. And
Hmm.
for others, it might not matter, but for me, it mattered. And then
Hmm.
I am capable of. So when you
Mm.
put that I am capable of, you actually in before the bad, you put it into the manifestation that this is what I know it's in my possession to be.
Mhm.
I don't dream, I am capable because it's already happening. It's in my ability. So every night I am grateful, success, 5 things,
Mhm.
and I am capable.
That's so good.
Try it. It's amazing. I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now.
Wow.
I
Wow.
have a lot of notes.
That is an incredible, incredible practice.
Yeah.
That is an incredible practice. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can attest to the amazing work that Yana is doing. Like I said, because my mom had exposed me to some of these modalities years and years and years ago. I'm so grateful that I had a mom who was like into this type of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like we would have some ailment going on, and I had the mom that'd be like, "Oh, there might be an energy block there."
Mhm.
It's like,
What a blessing.
that really was a blessing, to have a mom. Yes, she'd take us to the doctor and all that stuff, but she would be like, I think there's something else going on
And that's
here.
why you're the way that you are. Perfect.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I truly,
Beautiful.
truly, I had that awareness even as
Beautiful.
a young person that I wasn't just a
Yeah.
physical
Beautiful.
person, that I have emotions, I have a spirit, I have other things that are going on that can be all influencing
And she's
each
very
other.
proud of you, I'm sure.
Yes, yes, I believe that she is. I really do. And so, for those who want to learn more about the work that you're doing and they're interested in connecting with you to get released from some of this stuff that is holding them back from living the life that they really want to live, how can people get in touch with you and learn more about the
I
work
will
that you
just say one thing, that it is our birthright to be happy and
Yes.
joyful in life. And never forget that wherever you are in life. So you can reach out at yanagerman.com
Mhm.
and fill out the assessment. And the assessment question will give you, not only give me an understanding who you are, but it will give you even more understanding and insight of where you are now. And
Right.
schedule a consultation with me, and we will just talk and see if we are in alignment. And if not, I will recommend what is the best for you, because at the end of the day, I want people to experience joy and peace, because it is truly gift for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. That is a wrap. Yana, thank you so much for sharing your heart, your wisdom, your just your authenticity and the joy I can see that you have in helping people in
I
these
love it.
areas. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I've known Yana for almost 20 years now. That is
Oh
nuts. Um,
my gosh.
I met you in my 20s, girl. Okay. I have known her for about 20 years. And so I
Boy,
can certainly
we're
attest.
fabulous. We're fabulous.
Honey, look, and we still look exactly how we look when we were
What I want to say, I love it. The power of energy, it
the
works.
power of energy.
I love it.
Exactly. So please do get in touch with her again at yanagerman.com. And I really look forward to continuing the conversation. I'm sure we'll have you back in the future, Yana, as you continue to evolve and help others evolve in the different areas of their life. And so we look forward to having you back in the near future as well. Sound good?
Thank you. Thank you so much for holding the container.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so, so much for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, please, please drop a love heart, put it in the comments of what you enjoyed most about this episode, and let us know what you would like us to talk about in the future. If there are other guests that you would love to see on the Liberation Lounge, please let us know that in the comments as well. Please be sure that you go and you like and subscribe to at April Joy Empowers, the Liberation Lounge podcast, because that's where all of our episodes will be archived so that you can enjoy them again and again. So thank you so much, everybody. Again, love you, Yana. Look forward to seeing you again real soon. And bye for now, everybody. Have a good one.